Yeah, so I've got a couple really beautiful hides, buffalo hides. Just trying to decide which one to go with. I think I'm liking the brown. So I created this paper template of the sheath that I found online. It's an example of the sheath that this knife would have came with at the time. Okay, so using that as a template, and so you can see that works out well. Okay, so using the template from the original design, we have that placed on a piece of buffalo hide, and we're going to go ahead and cut that out. Okay, so at this point we've got our template cut out. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to run we're gonna stitch around the perimeter. Okay, first, and then after that we will stitch the loop with the belt, the belt loop, and then we will stitch the lower end. Okay, the end that protects the blade. Okay, so we're going to be using our stitching machine. Okay, this is a hand crank stitching machine. Okay, that we've been utilizing for about the last couple of months. This will be, I think, the third project that we're undertaking with it. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch the loop. You can see how thick this is. Talking about centimeter. Okay, so which is basically you're looking at 3/8 of an inch thick, this leather. So it's just about the max that this machine will take. So just put a piece of tape on here, just so we can get a nice straight line on that. So you want to go nice and slow when you have pieces this thick, so you don't either break the needle or snap the thread. All right, so we got a nice double stitch on the loop. Came out nice. This is the back, front. Okay, before we stitch this, we're just going to bond it. We're going to use some leather and suede glue, okay, on the edge. Just want to put a small bead on here, and we're going to brush it out. Want to make sure that this is a solid, very strong bond. Best way to do that is with some leather and suede glue. You could also use like a contact cement, like a barge. Just going to use a small brush to brush that out nice and even. It says water soluble, this glue, so if you do use a little too much, you can always just wipe it off before it dries. It will give you a permanent bond once it's dried. So we got that glue brushed on. We're going to wait about 15 minutes and then we'll put it together. Okay, if you want to speed up the process, you can use a hair dryer, blow dryer, or heat gun to speed up the drying process. Otherwise, it'll take about 15 minutes to dry. Okay, we're back. As you can see, the glue is dried. Okay, it dries. When it dries clear. It darkens the material a bit, but as long as it's not visible, you're fine. Okay, so we've got the two sides together, and we are going to stitch it. Alright, so here we are. We got the stitching done. It came out really, really nice. Really satisfied with that. Okay, especially since this is such a thick piece of leather. I mean, we're talking about, like I said before, 3/8. So it's a good job. What we need to do now is we need to put a fastener or a rivet for extra strength right here. Thing is, even though I love copper, I don't think it's going to look good in this project. Fact of the matter is there's no copper on this knife. Okay, so I don't think that's going to match well. So what we'll do is we will coat this with nickel. Okay, so we're going to coat this with nickel, and that way it'll give it a nice shiny finish. We'll give it a nice it'll give it a nice nickel finish that'll match the finish of the rest of the knife. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do next is we are going to make the hole for this rivet. Okay, we want to make sure it's in the right spot. It should be center lined on the thread, on the stitching. Okay, so we're just going to make a mark. And then we've got our punch. And we're going to bring in our heavy hammer. Okay, let's just check that. Alright, so we went all the way through. That aside, now we're going to check the depth of the rivet. It's going to look really good, and you can see that does protrude out the other side. So we have enough material there to get a nice burr on that. Okay, so we got that prepared. We've got a nickel bath here, and we're going to go ahead and just put a nickel coating on this. Okay, so we've got this copper washer that we also nickel plated. Okay, so it'll match, everything will match up. Okay, so to strengthen the loop area, we're looking to add another rivet right here. Okay, so we're just going to go up about 1.5 inches, right in the center. And we're going to put a hole. There you go. See that leather stack come out? Alright, so we took another rivet. We nickel coated that very lightly. Doing it so a little bit of the copper still shows through, kind of blends a little bit nice with the leather itself. So we're just going to run that right through just like that. Okay, let's get this on there. That way we can drive that home. Okay, so what we need to do at this point is we need to cut in a couple of slots for the strap. Okay, we're gonna use this cutting tool. More or less gonna make like a slot, 2 slots. Okay, we'll make them same height. Okay, so we'll start them here. So we'll finish cutting the slots with a fresh blade. Alright, so we got to make the strap out of this piece of leather, matching piece of leather. Okay, and the easiest way I've found to do this is by utilizing a strap, an existing strap from another sheath. Okay, so yeah, so instead of having to figure it out and measure, you've already got one. This Okay, now what we need to do is we need to add the snap. Okay, so okay, first thing we need to do is make a couple holes. So we're going to place the snap on here where we like it. Alright, put our tool aside, we've got our piece built. Just test it out. Yes, it works. Okay, good. Okay, so what we're going to do before we put this on is we're going to edge coat this. Okay, so but before we edge coat it, we're going to round over the edges a little bit. Okay. So at this point, we're going to run some edge coat on this piece. All right, and we've got our little edge coating tool. Okay, so we're back to the sheath. We cleaned up the edges, and now we're just going to, we cleaned up the edges, I should say, on our belt sander, okay, to make everything even. We beveled the edges as well, okay, and now we're just going to burnish the edges before we do an edge guard on it. Alright, so we're just going to use our burnishing tool and just rub that on there. Alright, so we got the edges burnished pretty nicely. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to finish it up by applying some edge guard. Or really I should be calling it edge coat, but I don't know, I got used to calling it edge guard because it kind of guards the edges from fraying. And it also makes them look nice. Aesthetically pleasing, if you will. So we're just going to run that along the edge. Alright, so we're also gonna add a rivet, a fastener here to strengthen this this area. Okay, so we already punched a hole. I'll drop in a rivet. Nickel plated this one as well. There we go. Looks good. Turn that over. Okay. Okay, so we're going to proceed in rounding this over. Okay, we're just going to bring this in. Hopefully you can see that rounding over. Just using a jeweler's hammer here. Continue to work that. So that's nicely rounded over. And we're going to take the tip of our tool here. Just give that a couple hits. Get that a nice round. You can see that looks really good. That's it. Okay, so there we have it. We have our custom made one-off buffalo hide sheath. Okay, I think it came out really, really nice. I'm hoping my buddy JJ will really, really like this. Okay, I haven't seen another one like it. I did a pretty thorough search on the internet for buffalo hide. So I haven't seen one like this, not even close, frankly. You know, with the buffalo hide, with the soft side out, okay, with the hair. Okay, so really a nice rustic look in my opinion, and I'm really, really happy with the way it came out. We used edge coat in brown along the edge to make sure that that would stay nice and solid. See how nice and thick that leather is. Okay. See the back. You can see the back side. My intention with this was to do something different, at the same time use a material that we haven't used before. I really like the way that looks, so I'm just going to try to zoom in here and show you the hair. Okay, so it's really, I really like it. Like I said, it's different. It's a real rustic type feel to it. Let's see how that fits. Look at that. Yeah, hopefully I did this knife justice with this build. And you know, this is something that's fully functional. He can wear this out into the field, okay, on a hunting trip or what have you, and you know, attach right to his belt. And yeah, hopefully he'll get many years of enjoyment out of it, and pass it down to his kids. Please post a note in our comments section. Okay, so if you have any questions about the tools that we used here, you can see this quite a bit. All right, surprising amount of tools and materials and effort goes into building something like this. even though it's a small project. A lot has to come together to come up with results such as this. I want to say thanks to everyone out there that subscribed to our channel and has helped support us. I want to thank all of our good friends. I want to thank everyone out there that's helped us with supplying interesting restorations like this knife. Okay, I encourage my friends to see what they have that they'd like to have restored, and we'll get it restored for them. Okay, yeah. So that's it. So thanks again for watching, and everybody have a great week and a happy Thanksgiving.